individual TPOs will require your brain. So the two tools that you'll need forever are the TPO and your brain. Burn well. Afternoon. Um, so we can see, I mean, you see how that battle at 40 really happened. They finally got above it and they're holding it out. We have a poor high formed, and then we also have a mechanical low at this C low. As far as overnight inventory goes, right? I know this was a Friday, so it's kind of hard to compare. Oh, where's my screen? Kind of hard to compare, where it's at, but you could, pretty much guess overnight inventory was short, probably, around like 80-20 short with a little bit of where this ended at. Yeah, they corrected it. They corrected it. They tried to correct it a little bit before the open, and then came down, opened up, and then corrected it a little bit more on the open. Um, it's interesting. We're still, I mean, now we're above Friday's high, but we're still not above that Globex high, and I think that target to the upside is probably going to be, well, first that Globex high and then that 50. There's not really a ton of resistance going on. We actually just got a lot of buying that came into the market, which is what kind of popped this up. We saw Tesla pop. I'm pretty sure Tesla announced a news event. Crypto Digs, what's up, man? I'm pretty sure that they announced a split. I'm gonna try to find it right now. It'd be crazy if they're gonna split again. That would just be insane. And then I want to talk to you guys about something that I'm thinking here. Let's see, Tesla. Tesla wants to split its stock again so it can pay a dividend. So that's what that news was. The SEC said the electric car maker will ask its annual shareholders meeting for an increase in the number of authorized shares of common stock in order to enable a stock split of the company's common stock in the form of a stock dividend. Tesla's last split was August 2020. The shares have more than doubled since the 5-to-1 split took effect August 31st, 2020. Tesla wants a split so it can pay dividend. Okay, there we go. If there is a 6-to-1 split, so that's what they're looking to do. So those are pretty bullish. We've got, Amazon getting ready to do a stock split, Tesla getting ready to do a stock split. And if you guys don't really understand how these stock splits work, I'll explain it. So here's Amazon, right? Amazon's going to do, I think they're doing a 20-to-1 split. And so you basically take this number, whatever it is on the day of the split, and so let's say it's 3350, right, which is a good number for it to just hang out at. It's actually finally hitting its 200 or getting over its 200. But we'll just divide it by 20, right? Which would put us 30 160 167.5 per share, right? And so when you think about something like this, and the reason that a lot of stocks try to do this, and if we look at Tesla, right, Tesla's 91 and they're trying to cut it by 6. So what is that? 180, 80, let's call it. So when you think about it, when you want to buy a share of something and it's, 10,000 or $1,000 or $3,000, it becomes a little bit more difficult for the common person to just buy one, right? And so these companies do this stock split, and then they announce stock buybacks at the same time. But they do this split because now it's only 180 bucks. So now that dream of owning some Tesla or some Amazon, right? And if you see Tesla, Tesla's looking really strong today, up on a gap. Um, but they can get a piece of this magical company for a little bit cheaper now. And so typically when that happens, or when these announcements happen, ES just pulled back to the 40, guys. Um, when these announcements happen, you get a lot of participation in the market. Globex 5. And so what happens is they pour in, they start buying it up, and then you start to see the market actually start to move based off of that news. Typically, like if we look at Tesla here, their last split was August. I gotta add some more time real quick. Their last split was in August 2020. Right. It was like right around here. And you can see this is where they announced that split. They ran up, they came down, they consolidated nice. Everyone's like, oh, that's it. And they were at 1,000 before they split. They split down to about 250. Or around down to about like 300-ish. I think it was like 261 or something like that. Buzz, what's up, man? And then it's just been bouncing up now. So they've already gone up, more than double, and that was a 5-to-1 split, and this time they're talking about doing a 6-to-1 split. Market's starting to get some gas on the downside here. A little bit of tempo picking up. Now watch for volume and continuation. Some Russian oligarch got poisoned. That was a pretty big drop right there, quick. So, but could be. Remember, we got to stay patient here, because anything that's news driven, right? We know, and we saw it Friday, bounces back. There it goes. So we want to see if sellers really try to pour it in here. That was mostly just a liquidation off of straight fear, but it did look like we got some attention down there, um, or some activity. Let's see what else they got. Watch the 40 level. The 40 level is going to be key, as it has been pretty much throughout this day. And then you can see the C and D low are right off of the open, right? So very mechanical references. So people are basically just waiting down here to buy this open. And so this is what's making me kind of lean towards the downside, but I'm staying patient, right? I like this. I like getting short from the high. I like, getting a little bit of fade, because as long as we're not seeing any increased volume. This last time we popped above 40, I definitely didn't try it, just because with Tesla, shooting up to the sky the way that it was, I didn't want to get in the way, but we're seeing it kind of fade. But if we can get below the open and start to build some volume down here, there's a good chance that we come down to that Friday point of control, which is at 13. Happens to be half back from Friday, happens to be the top of that 3-week balance high, and the E2 high as well. So it would make sense as to see some more buyers that are done buying here to try it again here, right? They've been trying it here all morning. Every time we've seen today, very mechanical buying all day. We're seeing people sell rallies and buy breaks. Very slow though. My target today, if there is a break or if we do get some bad news, is going to be down here, this 200 SMA. I think that's a good spot for them to try to buy in again. That'll be a spot where you see a lot of people try to pour back in. Let's take a quick peek. We're coming back down to that open. I don't want it to, I don't want to miss it for you guys. The VIX just got a nice little pop too. So here we go. Once we get to the open, if we start to break this open and you start to see a good amount of volume, it might be a quick ride down to that 16. Might that might be a little escalator down situation. You're not seeing a ton of volume yet. Okay, it's just bouncing. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick run at the overall market. Right, we can see Apple's red, Microsoft is green, Tesla's green, Amazon turned green. So these are the three that we're gonna be want to be watching. If we look at the overall market, right, pretty red for the most part. Besides Amazon, Tesla, and Microsoft, right, we got a little bit in information technology kind of holding up, but not too much. The Nasdaq is still holding green. So the Nasdaq's still holding green, and but the Nasdaq still hasn't come up to its 200 SMA. The Dow, we talked about the Dow breaking out last week, but it's still kind of trapped underneath of its 200 SMA. I'm not really worried about the Russell. We could see bonds are still just getting smacked. Gold started to come up yesterday, but then it has since kind of laid off. Oil has dropped significantly today, which I thought, or I mean, pretty much is why I think that the market didn't fall very much, is because oil's coming down. With oil coming down, that's because of the news out of China, them kind of like backwalking what they said that they were gonna do. We're seeing the VIX. The VIX got smacked early on today, and you can see the recovery that it's making, almost getting up towards that high, right? And we've been one time framing down for a while now, so cessation of this one time framing on the VIX can really start showing us that people are getting a little bit more fear in the puts, because it's what this is measuring, right? Puts bought in the market, that people are starting to buy some more puts here, right? What do we say? ZQ, right? K. You can see the K contract has started to turn back down. I know this doesn't move much, guys, and sometimes it's tough to really measure, but we had kind of talked about it last week when we had this nice little pop that we'd like to see the market kind of start to chill out. We saw it start to flatten out, but now these past 2 days we've seen it start to come down a little bit, and this is kind of a leading indicator a lot of times for the market and kind of what's going on right now. As far as Bitcoin goes, we saw and if you guys are in the Discord, I posted like a big drawing that I drew a bunch of shit on. If you didn't see it, you should just scroll up in the general chat and check it out. It was good, but basically, you can see we had this resistance, came back down. We started stair stepping up. Finally, got that capitulation from those sellers, and we ran pretty much right to the top of balance. I call this a gimme, right? Anyone ever played golf? I say that counts as the top of balance, which was our target. I'd kind of talked about this, that if we get above that, 43 level and start to stay there, that it's probably going to be a decently quick ride to 48. It took 1, 2, 3 days, but I would say that's a fairly quick ride to me. From here, we can see that we're getting a little bit of resistance. That 50K just seems right there. But what's starting to make me nervous now is this, because we were looking at Bitcoin as a risk off asset, right? People are like putting in for like store value and blah, blah, blah. Um, but what's interesting, let's go for the month. Um, the ES was coming down, and then Bitcoin bounced, and so did the market. Bitcoin sideways, so did the market. So Bitcoin has broken out, so people are putting it in. So this is going to be key going forward, monitoring this for me for Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin starts to flatten out again with the market, then it's going to give me less of a it's going to give me less confidence in Bitcoin to continue its grind to the upside without the market, if the market doesn't continue its grind to the upside as well. So they've become a little bit more correlated than I typically like to see them. I like to see Bitcoin a little less correlated. Let's take a peek around the block to Sol got a nice pop today. I don't know if anyone caught any of that. It was a nice little run up. But we can see Luna down at the bottom and Bitcoin down at the bottom, right? This is something that we haven't really seen very much. We've normally seen them kind of opposite each other. They're trading together. Oh, there goes Bitcoin. It's popping up a little bit. So is the market. But most of crypto has done, fairly well. Even if we take it back to last week, they've done fairly well. Luna being the lagger, but today they're trying to catch up. There we go. Tap it in. Above, we have that 50,000, and then really above that, there's not really much resistance up until 52,144. Not that I'm paying attention to, at least, or not that I really see. Figure out how to get these going away. If you are joining us on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, welcome. Please press that like and subscribe button, and then if you feel like sharing the information, that'd be great. It would be, in the benefit of everyone that you share it with, because they would actually learn something useful. And not how to buy a MACD crossover, which I've seen a lot of videos talking about lately, about some MACD crossover on cryptos, and that it's bearish and blah blah blah. But I haven't seen it really. Teacher. Yeah, if we look at the big names here today, I mean, it's pretty clear Tesla's just being a beast. You've even got Apple getting close to turning green here too. So if we get a lot of these bigger names starting to turn green, the market could start to come up, right? And we've seen the resistance at 40, so above that 40, we definitely don't really want to be getting short here. We have seen the market fade a little bit. That 45.50 is just such a mechanical number that it just seems like such a good target, right? We looked at the overall sectors. The real estate, technology's up there. That's the K. Financials aren't really doing much, or financials are down here, not really doing much. Um, Energy still hanging out on the low, utilities on the low, so real estate's up big time today. Oh, no worries, my bad. I ta I tagged at everybody. I've been I post a picture from here every day in the trade view, right? And I like this map better than the one that Thinkorswim has, just because it breaks everything down individually, right? So we have our technology sector, but it breaks it down into semiconductors, software, information technology, computer hardware, communication equipment, consumer electronics, software infrastructure, right? It breaks everything down individually. I don't have a subscription yet, but I did get a email saying that I could um get all of, or like the advanced, the elite version or whatever for $2 a month for a year. So if anyone's interested in that, I can forward you that email. I think I might just go ahead and get it. This website gives you a lot of information more on stocks. If you're not really trading stocks, it's not really um, that useful. I more use it to track sectors because it breaks it down without me having to really like search for it. I haven't got a full chance to really uh, mess with it. But I mean, like here's all the futures, and it kind of tells you like, oh, 1 day performance, who's winning today. This is not live data, right? Because I don't have a subscription for it, but the VIX was the winner, and it goes on over all of the futures. You could even on the maps, we can take a peek at the world here, right? It gives you just good information, I think, just to pay attention to, right? Because a lot of times when you can pretty much see currency where the money's going, right? So if we think about the UK, right, or Europe, France, Italy, everybody over there, um, if all of their money is going into one sector and coming out of here, well, it's not all going to be able to get put into here, right? I'm just assuming that this is energy, right? I don't know much about much about their exchange, but I'm just using it as a comparison to like what the US map looks like. Bottom right is the energy sector. And so if people are pouring into the energy sector and you're getting energy stocks going like this, well, late money that wants to take their money out of, some of these bigger companies, they're going to need to put it somewhere, and you can sometimes start to catch the rotations into other markets. And so if we start to see a lot of rotation out of North America, well, this is showing Canada, but if we go back to the S&P 500, out of the North American market, and we start to see one of these other sectors, like the China market's looking pretty green here. Bob was back up. Um, that could be a decent, little headline or a little indicator, right, to tell you to open your eyes back up. Be like, oh shit, okay, let me pay attention. Lawrence and Family Channel. Thanks, TJ. And if you guys haven't checked out the Sorensen Family Channel, just make sure you do so. Let me pull it up right here. This is one of our members, TJ, puts out all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, on pretty much everything. If you just scroll through all of his videos, he's got a bunch of cool information, really lively, and keeps it exciting, so you don't really get bored. Yeah, it says right here, crypto, success principles, passive income, NFTs. It's really cool because he includes his whole family, right? 4 boys. Just his house is probably just complete chaos all the time. So show that guy some love over there on his channel. Yeah, of course. Or Nato. The market's pretty much just kind of just chilling right here at the settle from Friday, trying to make a decision, right? And like I said, I think today we're getting a lot of gambling, right? And I bet if I pull up these options that actually let's look at the SPY and for some reason Thinkorswim's been like just laggy lately. Doing this. Um, so here's Swim. You can see my contracts are worthless at this point. This is what I wanted to see. Look, so this is how we know that we're not really seeing any one-sided trading, right? You're seeing a lot of, and I call it gambling, right? They probably know what they're doing, but you're just seeing people play momentum, which is why you have such high trades at the ask or at the bid on the sell side, right? So every time the market starts to get some momentum down, a bunch of momentum sellers come in and start smacking the bid, smacking the bid, smacking the bid. And then eventually they run out because they're weak-handed, and then the market starts to rally up. And then when the market starts to rally up, you get all these buyers who aren't paying attention and buying breaks, and they start piling in, boom, 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 lifting the offer, lifting the offer, lifting the offer. And then eventually they run out because there's no big money in the market really trading today, right? If we look at the volume, 300,000 volume, and it's, I mean, we're 2 hours in. Come on, where are you guys at? Where's the, you know, Peter? What's up, man? Four girls, 20 to 6 years old. Oh my god, see, that's a different type. That's a different type of household, Bruno. So like, DJ, like his house is probably just like, it's like a fucking tornado went through it because boys are just fucking, they're chaos, right? They're just everywhere, but they're a little bit easier because like if you could just, while they're spinning, like open the back door and spin them out into the backyard and then close the door, then like whew, they're out. But you see, girls are a different beast. Girls are like, you're like, go outside and play. Like, I don't want to go outside and play. Why don't you go outside and play? You're like, woo, better chill before I give you some of this Will Smith. Who saw that? Slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. That show's comedy. I was dying. Me and my wife were like, "Oh shit, was that real? It looked real." And then you see, I think, I think it was real, but I also think that these two are professionals, and they know how the game works, right? The game, that's how the game works. There's no such thing as bad media. Look at the most popular game in the world, Fortnite, right? Everybody knows what Fortnite is, regardless if you played it, regardless if you play it. Everybody knows what it is. It reminds you that the Oscars still exist, yeah, because nobody watches that shit. Because every time they're just like, oh, fucking, they just cry about shit, and it's mostly like them crying about like, women's rights and trans rights and stuff like that. And like, we're not watching the Oscars to do that. We're watching the Oscars to celebrate some of these great people that put on great things. Like I mean, I know a lot of the people probably haven't seen a lot of those movies, but I watch every Denzel movie that comes out, and that Denzel movie was amazing. Denzel's just such a fucking good guy. And if you guys heard what Will Smith said to him, it was Macbeth. Yeah, yeah, he redid. Yeah, he redid the Shakespeare. But yeah, so like, when Will Smith slapped him, Denzel actually came over to Will Smith and said, "Hey, the devil tries to touch you when you're at your brightest," and was just trying to calm him down. And like, me and my wife, I love Denzel, guys, love him. Like, I think he should be the fucking president of the United States. He is the fucking man. But like, he is always just such full of wisdom, and he is so mild mannered. And I mean, you're talking about a man, a black man that grew up in the hood and still did drama, and still to this day does drama. Can you imagine? And we're talking back, because Denzel was born in like 50, what? He's like 60 years old. Let me look him up. Denzel was born in, he's 67. He's born in 54. So he's 67 years old, right? And he's still just killing the game, right? But can you imagine back in the day how much shit he must have gotten from all of his friends? And if you guys didn't grow up in like, you know, uh, a place where you have a lot of black people, drama is not the thing that they try to support each other to do, especially in the inner city, right? And so he probably just got made fun of so much, but he didn't give a shit. He wanted to do something and he did it. And he's a big advocate for, you are not a product of your environment. You're a product of yourself, right? And that's why I love him. And then he reached out to Will Smith to calm him down in that situation, right? That takes I mean, that takes some courage, right? To go to somebody who just, had an explosion. I don't know if you guys ever tried to talk to somebody after a fight. If after they got in a fight, sometimes you might get smacked, so you just want to kind of stand back. But like, and I kind of got on a little rant just because I fucking love Denzel, but the situation I think might have been a little bit set up just because, like I said, with the Fortnite thing, if everybody's heard of this game, and almost all the time it's people complaining about how shit the game is or how they ruin the game. Oh, they ruined Fortnite, blah blah blah. But guess what? The guy that runs Fortnite is a genius because he does it on purpose. Right? He's like, let me ruin the game a little bit, and then everyone's still gonna play it, and everyone's gonna talk about it online, and then everyone's gonna get back onto it and be like, oh, what's it all about? Right? And so I kind of think, same thing. Oh, we're breaking the low. There it goes. So notice the tempo that we're breaking here with. So now if we get some volume, this thing could really pick up, and it could be a short ride down to that 13. Excuse me. So I kind of think that, maybe it was set up. Will is going through some real shit. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I don't blame. I mean, I don't blame Will at all. And I don't. Chris Rock made a G.I. Jane joke about Jada Smith, and well, she's has some issue going on with her that causes her hair to fall out. So she didn't alopecia. Okay, there it is. Yeah, I couldn't think of the name, but she didn't. I mean, she didn't shave her head, and he made a GI Jane joke. And I mean, Will Smith just walked up there, cool as fuck. Gave him some fresh prints. Man, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Jada. Yeah, I mean, I think if she wasn't actually going through, if she wasn't actually going through, like, if she didn't have alopecia, they probably would have laughed it off. Will Smith, I mean, he's a pretty funny guy. Like, he likes to joke around. So, and it's fucking Chris Rock, bro. The guy's a legend. Like, I mean, was it an overreaction? Yeah. Committing battery on national television, right? He's not going to get in any trouble, but he definitely committed a crime. It's not legal to smack somebody, even though I think it should be. If someone makes fun of my wife, and I should be allowed to just bitch slap them like that. I mean, I would have slapped Chris to sleep, to be honest with you. Being as big as Will Smith probably just, didn't put it behind it. Because if Will Smith, I mean, as hard as it looked, and the thing that gets me is the audio. The audio sounds like a real slap. I don't know if any of you guys have slapped anybody like in combat or like a competition or for real in real life. But when you slap somebody for real, it makes a thud sound, not a smack sound. It makes a stud sound because you smack them with your whole hand. Right? I mean, my hand's really big, so when it hits people, I mean, I put people to sleep with a slap. It's definitely possible. And Will Smith's fucking big, so and Chris Rock is not. So I feel like that slap, especially he had his hands behind his back, wasn't expecting it. If he wasn't expecting it, he probably would have went to sleep. In my experience, when people aren't expecting to get hit, most of the time when you hit them, they just go to sleep. Um, so he was like, "Whoa, yeah." But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just, you know, spotlight should just go to Denzel for being able to de-escalate the situation. Man, he's just so good. One time Denzel was in, and I bring this story up all the time, so if you've heard it, you can hear it again. But I just love Denzel so much that he left some fresh prints on Chris Rock's face. Alex, that's a good one. Um, um, he leaned into it. Yeah, that's the thing that kind of makes me wonder if it was set up because Will Smith doesn't need any. Will Smith doesn't need any. He doesn't need any like publicity. Everybody knows who Will Smith is. I mean, he's like younger Denzel, basically. Just not as hardcore. People aren't afraid of him. They just like him. There was all kinds of memes that said like um after he made the joke, Jada leaned into Will and said, August wouldn't let him say that to me or something like that. I was like, oh my God, savage. And I guess August is the dude from that she cheated on him with or something like that. I guess I don't know. But um it was kind of savage. But anyway, so Denzel one time was in San Antonio at Fort Sam Houston, which is where we train all the medics for the military, not even just the Army. The Air Force trains there, the Navy trains there. All of our medics train there. And I mean all of our healthcare nurses, doctors, that's where everyone goes to train. That's where we do pre-deployment training for the medics, because we do like live tissue labs and stuff like that. But he was there one time and he was walking through down by the hospital, and they have these things called Fisher houses. And a Fisher house is a house that is set up for basically easy rehabilitation for some of our wounded warriors that come back that are, uh, the that had faced a serious injury that caused their life to significantly change, right? And so in that situation, he's walking by, they're explaining that to him, and he's like, damn, he's like, that is so cool. He's like, how much do they cost? And they told him. He pulled his checkbook out, wrote a check, said, build another one right here. Right? That's Denzel. He just, I mean, I don't know, just doesn't get better than that. So see how we got below the open? We had some tempo there, but weren't able to get continuation, and that's because of the volume, right? So as much as this thing looks like it wants to break here, it's having a tough time breaking because it's not getting the volume that it needs. So you're still seeing the buyers sit here. And this is why I think it'll be a quick ride, because I think it'll just be capitulation followed by liquidation, right? They'll just be like, all right, that's enough. We've tried this spot so many times, it's not working anymore, because they were able to take it back up here, and their next spot to try will be down here. And then if you see, I drew this other trend line off the top yesterday, um, off of Friday's high, and we had pushed above it. Now we're coming back below it, right? That's why I think that high balance at 45.15 really could be a target. If we look at the flex grid here, we can kind of see, I mean, you see there's really no buying in the weighted sectors right now. It's kind of starting to pull back. Apple's starting to get a little bit red. Microsoft's still up about a 1.5. Tesla's still murdering it, but everything else for the most part isn't looking in our S&P 100 is not really looking great. What is interesting here though is you see the tick distribution for the most part is above the zero line. So people are more interested in buying so far, but they just haven't been able to take price up past that initial auction. And now we're starting to see some of the weighted sectors get some selling, and then you see the market start to turn down. Um, and then overall, when we see something like this, right, real estate's going up, utilities, but energy's not, and that's because oil's getting smacked. But we got information technology and consumer discretionary. And if we look over at where those lie, right, here's consumer discretionary, Amazon, Tesla, information technology, Microsoft. So we know that these three big guys are really just kind of holding us up. So as soon as these start to roll over, if they do start to roll over, um, the market will come down, right? And so a easy way to make sure that you're ready for that is just come over here to your trading view and take a peek at Tesla, and then just put an alert when we get back to the VWAP, right? Gets back to the VWAP, it'll give some people an opportunity. Same thing with Amazon, right? Amazon's already broken it, so what we'll watch is for that volume shelf at the bottom. If they give up that low here, probably gonna head down. Do the same thing with Microsoft. Microsoft's a big leader today. It's getting pretty close to just falling off this edge, and I'm gonna put an alert. Um, oh, there it goes, starting to pick up some tempo here. Can you go over the NQ graph? Oh yeah. Duplicate this chart. Find the Nasdaq, and I gotta change probably the ticks. So I think, guys, like I said, I think it's probably a quick ride down to. I mean, we've got like 16, 15, 14, 13, right? This is all an area that you should be targeting, right? So if you're short below the 2950 where we talked about, we should be targeting this area. But if we start to see slowed tempo, and if we start to, if we start to see a bounce in some of these other indices, then we want to get ready to, to cover, to take some profit. But also, let the trade work, right? Because I mean, it's working, so there's no reason to cut it short. Luis, what's up, man? You think this is retail volume, market makers waiting to short? Um, it's probably mostly retail traders today, yeah. And this is that liquidation that I was thinking was coming, right? Just because it just made sense. They've tried it a million times to try to buy it up. It wasn't working. So now they got to find a spot that they've done it before to do it again, right? And we're inside yesterday's value. So unless we get a strong reaction off the point of control, according to market profile rules, there's good odds that we trade back down to that 4506. If another session opens up, another period opens up, which doesn't happen for 23 minutes, but if another session opens up inside yesterday's volume, there's good odds that we trade to this bottom here. I'm trying to find the NASDAQ for you real quick. I never look at the NASDAQ on a TPO, to be honest with you. A contract. Gotta download a bunch. Okay, it's just loading the data real quick on the net. Yeah, thanks, Elise. I'm having a good day. Feel a lot better now than I did yesterday. All right, that's right. I don't know. I just did not feel good. Yeah, I was the only one sick. We all ate the same stuff too. My stomach just gets like that sometimes. Like sometimes my stomach just doesn't agree with life, and it's like, nope. So we're seeing a little bit of buying right here off this low, right? And this might be a little bit of short covering too, right? If we think about it, we do have a poor high up top, and for the most part, people were buying breaks and selling these rallies, and then finally they didn't buy the break. We had that liquidation. It came down to the 20, but there's still some decent volume coming in down here. So it's normal to see some short covering. What we want to watch is going to be that 2950 level on a retrace, right? If it goes over that, we'll probably get a little bit more rotational. If it stays below that, the downside is still going to be the right side. So if we were to draw levels today, we would draw them like this. And this area here would be your no trade zone, right? Getting in a trade here. I mean, there's opportunities, right? I'm not going to say you don't trade at all in there, but your safer play would be to wait for longs above the 40, wait for it to pop up, hold this 40 as support, get long, or wait for it to retest the open, hold below, and get short, right? take a peek at the Nasdaq. Oh shit. What's the price of the Nasdaq right now? 14.7. We can see the Nasdaq's profile is, pretty large profile. That's why I like to uh let's put it in just so we can see the Nasdaq a little bit. There we go. So the Nasdaq's coming back down right to its previous day's range too, and we can kind of see with the Nasdaq, it was stair stepping up for a while. It flattened out and then really just created a 4-day balance for the most part, and then today we're kind of having this peak above and fail, right? And typically, when we see these profiles, you can kind of see where it's just dying out, right? There's no volume. The Nasdaq's a lot thinner market than the ES market, but we're not really seeing any momentum yet, right? Nasdaq typically will start to lead, especially because we've got Microsoft, Tesla, Amazon, 3 big tech names that the Nasdaq tracks, running high today, right? So it's gonna be kind of hard unless Tesla starts to really roll over to start smacking the Nasdaq down, which is why the Nasdaq is still green and everything else is red. Yes, red. Yeah, I mean the Nasdaq's just barely green, right? The open's here, but I don't really trade the profile on the Nasdaq, to be honest with you. The Nasdaq doesn't respect levels as much just because it's such a thinly traded market compared to the ES. So it's a little bit more difficult sometimes um to get into the right spots on the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq trades I do make are more plays. Like I will play like a outside balance play or like an inside balance play, and then it's more just like fire and forget. Like I'm put the trade on, I have my stop loss, I have my profit target, and I just let the trade work out. Um, but I mean, if you look at Tesla, Tesla's up like 7% today. Not even close, coming back down to its pre-market high yet. So see a little volume shelf that formed on this low here where they bought it. Up today. I mean, these levels on Tesla here that I have up here are from before Tesla split. Because I used to trade Tesla options um, pretty frequently on Fridays. Every other day, they're just too expensive. Yeah, this is kind of interesting news too. That Russian oligarch. Yeah, of course, Otto. I could add some little Nasdaq analysis. Are you really only trading the Nasdaq? Because I mean, I do look at the Nasdaq every single day at the end of the day, just to see what it's doing, right? And if we go here, we can see, oops, you can see the Nasdaq 100, right? It's only 100 stocks in here, So this is kind of why it zips around a lot, but you can see where most of the weight comes from is tech. That's why everyone says this thing is tech heavy, because you could probably cover the rest of the space with just these, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, Microsoft. Facebook's been kind of back and forth lately too. It's been really crying about its life lately. Starting to see a little bit of sellers trying to come in here. Not really a ton of volume still though, guys. Still very, very light volume. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't go down, right? You've got to think about it. Hey Sean, how's it going? You've got to think about it how we saw on Friday. You guys remember Friday where there really wasn't any. It was almost the exact opposite situation during this. It wasn't that there was a ton of buying. It was just that there was nobody selling, right? There was nobody selling on this way up, and we just short covered all the way up, and then eventually got to that point where they had enough, and boom, liquidation. M period opened up, and then buyers decided, okay, it worked from here last time, and then they really ran it up. We have traded only NQ around a month and have larger targets. Let's see. Yeah, and that's awesome. And you can still utilize the market profile. It's just when you're trading the NQ and you're looking for um, some of these mechanical references on the Nasdaq, right? You've got to be a little bit more generous with where you're looking to uh, qualify some of these mechanical references. So, like, let's say we're trading the Nasdaq right now, right? And we're looking at the ES chart with this push down on the Nasdaq, us being 3 points away from this 16, I would say that's a pretty mechanical. They're just buying the point of control or front running the point of control. So good odds that we push through it, right? Or good odds that we at least go down and actually touch it, right? If they front run on the Nasdaq, good odds that they're going to come down here and touch it. It's just it's not as easily defined as it. And I do kind of implore you. I hope that you're trading the micro, but um, to come back. I mean, if it works with your schedule a little bit better, right? Because especially if you're trading overnight, it's tough with the ES. Might move like 10 ticks. Last night overnight session wasn't too bad, um, but a lot of times it's here nor there. It doesn't really move. So that makes sense. The trade in the Nasdaq overnight, because you can get a little bit wider swings and hope for bigger targets. You just got to make sure that when you're trading the Nasdaq, you definitely want to make sure you're getting filled. If you're buying, you want to get filled on the bid, and if you're selling, you want to sell on the ask, because there's a lot more slippage on the Nasdaq than there is on the ES for sure. For sure, so they say in the Bay Area. Starting to get some selling here in the weighted sectors, not really in the overall market, but we're starting to see some selling coming in Apple. Apple's almost down 1%. Microsoft's down under 1%. Or it's up, but it's under 1%. It was up almost 2%. Tesla's still holding up above 7, but everything else is looking like shit. Walmart's getting a little bit of love. Pfizer, Oracle. Much. The VIX is still climbing up above 22. Here's the VIX here. You can see it's breaking its high of day here, and now we're starting to come back down on the yes. But hopefully you guys caught some of this. That 13 level, that's a level I'm targeting. Let me see that 13. Who's an auctioneer in here? 13, 13, can I have 13, 13? Who's got 13? Come on. Uh-oh, Amazon's breaking it slow. Next level down, like I said, if we get some more volume down here, it's a quick ride to that 6. That's that value area low from Friday. Good odds um, if we open up another session, which opens up in 10 minutes, that we trade down to the other side of value. And this is the VPOC too from Friday, right? Most likely. Watch that half back. They're doing a little bit of backfilling here. Target on this upside probably 1850. Maybe 19 quarter. 1850 to 19. England's getting just, or like the EU's getting just absolutely smacked today. Credit Suisse, Barclays, like they're all just getting absolutely smacked. There's something going on there. $500 million block trade came through Barclays. There's I mean there's just such a risk going on, especially I don't know if you guys saw the some of the news that came out of the US this weekend. Biden said that basically Putin can't remain in charge. um he said something like Jesus Christ or something like that, like come on man, something like that, where he was basically just saying like Putin shouldn't be in charge, and then they walked it back. I posted it in the Discord. You know, just old Grandpa Joe just saying whatever the fuck he wants, right? It's awesome. But not great for global geopolitical issues, right? Um, and the EU is basically trying to prepare for some some possible shortages. I know the US, we just did it. We just made a deal where we sent Europe a bunch of gas or oil, but them being a huge importer of Russian energy kind of really limits their abilities here. So kind of just seems like it's leading them right into a recession. And if we take a peek at this, since this is something that we've talked about before, if you guys were here, um, about the euro and the USD, right? The euro did make a little bit of a stand here at the bottom, and we talked about the yen. What's the fucking thing? Oh, it's JPY. The US, the yen started to make a little bit of correction against the dollar too. So this is actually good news, um, geopolitically, but still not not great, right? I talked about if we start to see the euro start to come down, then the yen start to come down, then we just need to take a look over at our dollar, which still looking strong. If the dollar starts to come down and really starts to break some lower levels, then you've got to look out for the market. The market's going to probably try to roll over. And then another thing too, that we've talked about, the 10-year here not making new highs today. And if we let's look at this on a daily chart. I've drawn some levels up here. So above this 2.6, above 2.75, 2.9, and above 3.1, these are levels that if we start to break these levels, we've got to pay attention closely to the market, because these are levels that when we were here in the past, and you can see how far back we have to go, all the way back to 2019, scared the market a bit, right? Once it got above, here's 18, 19, and you guys remember in 19, and compare this to, compare it to the futures, compare it to the SPX, because that's, the futures contract is weird when you back compare, because it like aggregates data. It's stupid looking. But we can see when the TNX started to breaking up some of these levels, you can see the market started to pull back. It started to increase, and then it started to break this high level, boom, pulled back. Things started to dump, market started to go up, and when it started to pump back up, the market kind of fell off. And so now we're seeing TNX kind of start to run up, and you can kind of see some of these peaks here where they're interlined with some of the take Grandpa's keys away. Some of these pullbacks in the ES, but we're seeing here this kind of move up off that low, trading in correlation this time, right? So one of them is going to have to decide who's right and who's wrong when you have a divergence like this, and it always eventually corrects itself. We can't, the only thing is people try to time it, and you just can't time it. It's not possible. So don't try. What's going on here? Please increase size, still under 500. We'll just close it. Yes, my background is solid green. Right, because it makes you more creative. Makes your brain work harder. The next entry for BTC links. Oh, if you, it seems like it might be a little bit late here. How the fuck is this to me? Oh, because we're on a daily. No shit. I was the fuck. 30 minutes. Yeah, it's a little bit late for me to be looking for this Bitcoin long, to be honest with you. Yeah, it could have been that was our balance. So if we look at it like bigger picture here, this was a bigger balance from the daily chart that we had drawn, just on more of a bigger scale, right? We had volume here, and then we seen that it came back in. So I was kind of just taking this area as a, where buyers stepped in and where buyers jumped off, as a level that we could probably see more resistance that we would come up to touch. I guess we can get rid of this line here. But we're still respecting trend. We're still, on the way up. But I mean, if you see, look, like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of one time framing up, and we look at the ES, right? The ES saw the same thing. We had one little pop, and then ES is kind of pulling back today, but it just looks a little bit overextended, especially if we jump into the 30-minute chart. We were doing this stair stepping, and then all of a sudden this last step was a big step, right? But a lot of times when we get a big step like this, we see a little bit of retracement to kind of fill this in. to add us another step. So, you know, maybe give it a little bit of this and then come back up here and start accepting that. I'm not saying that it is going to pull back, right? We do have single prints here, but it just would make sense. Because I don't really see a lot of people trying to buy Bitcoin at $50,000. There is a kind of a campaign going on right now about owning one Bitcoin, right? Own one Bitcoin. People wanted to be a millionaire, and now that all they want to do is just own one Bitcoin because in 10 years it'll be worth $1 million or something like that. So we see F period open up below that 3-week balance. So we're opening up inside that 3-week balance high now. So watch that. We didn't even get back up to that 1875. I actually had a limit sell order up there and got filled. So now we have a poor low and a poor high. And that just tells you the overall strength of the market. And you're starting to see only consumer discretionary is green. And if we look at consumer discretionary, who's in there? Two big winners today. So besides that, pretty much everything else is not looking great. Except real estate. Yeah, not a bad idea. And nothing wrong with that. Not at all. And that's a good thing. Like, you know, if you're trading your real account and you're already up on your real account and you're doing well, there's no reason just to try to force some trades just to try to force some trades. You know what I mean? If you have that ability to switch over to the sim and see if your idea worked, you know, honestly, seeing your ideas work is, in my experience or my opinion, more beneficial than actually trading them real money or sim money, right? Eventually, you want to get to that point where you're placing those trades if you're confident in those trades. But those trades, like you're saying, like, you know, you're already hit your goal for the day, you're already up for the day, you don't want to give the profits back. Yeah, just pop over to the sim and let it work out. Because it's easy to look at a chart and be like, okay, I would have got in here, and then, you know, I'll target wherever, blah, blah, blah. But if you just switch over to your sim, when you go back, you can actually evaluate that trade, right? And decide, okay, that would have been a decent trade to get. We're starting to get some volume up here. Let's see if they can get above it. Where's that prior day high? Oh. Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's still good though. I mean, that's still a good little push. And way to understand that, like, understanding that during the trade is so key to understand that what's going on. You know, I always talk about, you can't block out those emotions. It's just never going to happen, right? You're not going to be able to just not have any emotion while you're trading, but understanding the emotion is the key, and then utilizing that emotion for, you know, for success basically is the goal. So yeah, that's excellent. What's corn doing today? You're starting to see them hold above that 19. That's some good. There's some good volume on that 19. So if we get below that 19, this could just be a little bit of backfilling too, though. There's a lot of volume on that 19, so maybe a lot of people try to short that 19. See, corn. Corn's not doing. Starting to see a little bit less selling here in the overall market though. Microsoft's still kind of struggling. Amazon's 1%. Tesla's still up 7.5%. Tesla still looks really strong. Yeah, so we saw a lot of selling on that like 1875, 19 level right there. So that'll be the level to watch. Below that, we probably could see some more downside, but the target on the upside would probably be at 25 again. 25 to 29 maybe. 25 being the close of those single prints, and then 29 being the open and today's halfback. So if we get below that 19, volume going 15 quarter, like the other spot with some volume right here. On Wednesday, there is a vote for legalization or federal decriminalization of marijuana. So cross your fingers. They're supposed to they're supposed to they're supposed to like go through all of those cases. That's the thing is they're supposed to. I know back I think it was Obama released a bunch of people that were in jail for marijuana, non-violent marijuana crimes. So like any marijuana crimes that didn't involve any guns or violence, they pretty much let them out. But I think it still has to be litigated, and so the backlog of that, because there's so many people that are probably, yeah. Yeah, you wonder. And then there's also another bill that's getting ready to go through or to get voted on, that is about taxing unrealized gains. Is I'm down to tax unrealized gains if like your net worth is like over, like 50 million. Then yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. You're just getting fucked. Yeah. So that's another thing too that's kind of like making me think like, okay, if this thing starts to unwind, or if it starts to get some steam and they start to really be for it, because if you think about who's going to pay the most taxes on unrealized gains, going to be rich people, because most, I mean, like, like I said, Jeff Bezos, his salary is like $1, and he just has an Amazon black card that he just swipes to fucking buy bridges and whatever the fuck he wants because he's rich. But a lot of that is because the unrealized gains of Amazon, and so they're trying to figure out a way to tax these people, but not but they're not really taking into account regular people that have a stock portfolio that's way up, and now they want us to pay tax on it. It's like, that's why you put that shit in a Roth, tell them to S&D. I was watching this show this weekend with my wife that it's like called like Scratcher Homes or something like that. It seems like all these people in the Northeast are like Connecticut, New York, like all these areas up there are just fucking scratching off millions of dollar tickets. Insane. Yeah, dude, it's wild. Like all these people building houses and shit are doing like these custom houses all because they hit him over $1 million on a scratcher. Like, damn, that's what's up. And then they take half of that money too. They're like, good job winning $1 million. I'll take half. Like, what? Which is what ends up happening to a lot of lottery winners, is that they end up, taxes end up getting them in trouble because they don't really think about it. If you guys watch that, was it the Oscars? The Oscars, yeah. If you watched the Oscars last night, it really looked like Will Smith wanted to say more stuff, but like he was being held back by the company, right? Because it was kind of a fancy little thing. But it felt like he wanted to tell us something, you know? I feel like he's trapped. Kind of like some iRobot situation. Scary. Yeah, last night. Yeah, he slapped the shit out of him. But look at the tempo picking up once we were getting down here towards this low. Back down to this 13, and this is kind of where it died out last time. See if they can push it through. So the target down here, ooh, they got trapped right there, it looks like. Let's see if they can get it back above, what did we say, 19? Level right here at this 15. So they held it at the 15 again. So if they get above 15, watch the 19. But if they can't get above the 15, then watch the 6. And that's where it looks like, I mean, they just tried the 15 right there, but weren't able to do it. There's just not, there were 61 contracts straight on that low tick. And the bounce back was quick, right? So that lets us know that shorts are covering when they break the lows. So that's a sign right there. When you see something like this, right? When you see that little bounce off of a low like that, most times it's not someone just buying nowhere, right? I mean, this is the VPOC from Friday, but the most times it's going to be short covering. And so this is telling you on a day like today, if you're trying to go for breakouts, you're going to have a rough day. You've got to wait for these pullbacks, right? We know 15 was a level. We know 19 was a level. We know 26 to 29 was a level that shorts piled on, right? We have single prints above. But we wait for pullbacks, wait for the buying to fade, wait for a seller to come in, and then try to get on board. I tried to get short on that. When it came back up to the 19, well, I did get short at 19, but then I covered at 16, and then it came back up to 19, and I tried to get short again, but I missed the fill. Uh-oh. Tesla's only up 6.5%. So from last time what we looked to now, that's an extra percent down. And now we're seeing them kind of hold this 15 level here. But it really just looks like it kind of, to me, it kind of looks like sellers are getting trapped down here. So just be careful here. It looks like we might see a bit of a bounce if they don't start forcing this thing down. It looks like sellers, to me, are getting a little bit overzealous and might see a little bit of an inventory correction. But there's really just no volume today, too. Yeah, there it goes a little bit. But watch the 19 on this little upside. So so a key here, guys, when we saw that, right, we saw them bounce, 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 bounce. We're off that 15 like 4 times right there, and no push down. See, there it is again. It touches it and pops right back up. That's kind of telling me that some of this volume that's coming in right here is catching, right? They're trying to hold that level. See, and there they go. There's sneaky fucks. Um, and so we've got to be paying attention to stuff like that, right? That's why tempo, and that's something that Jim Dalton always talks about. Tempo and volume are just so important when you're trading, to pay attention to that tempo and volume. And the reason I think that there's a little bit of catching, or maybe a little bit of covering here, is because we keep taking just one tick down, and then right back up, right? If they were wanting to sell it, we should get a couple ticks, get a little bit rotation. But I mean, really, you're trading in a like a point, maybe point and a half range right here for now. There they go. There's a little bit of selling there, but still, it's still so light. The volume come in. Now we're starting to see some more volume come into the bottom side. See, these jumped up to 2,500 each. Watch this. Watch these two bottom numbers, right? Because this is kind of like a fall off. Then the VPOC from Friday is probably like one contract traded on that low tick that time. There they go. There's some people trying to hit the bid here down at this low. The tempo's kind of dying down here on this downside, right? We are getting some volume coming in, but we're starting to see the tempo slow a little bit. And remember that push was from right under 15, so above 15, they'll be looking to take it back up to that 19. I'm still not getting long, guys. I'm not taking any longs, like I said, until we get back above that at 39. I don't like it in this area. And I still think that the target here is 6, but just something that I want you guys to be trying to key in on while you're trading is, if you get to a point, let's say you just got short here, it's doing this little dance of 2 ticks or 4 ticks even, that's just telling you that your trade is becoming more 50-50 as the odds go on, or as the trade goes on, right? There's some volume here. There's no buying down here at all either. Very thin. Still 66 contracts on that low tick. They haven't been able to touch it yet. There they go. Now 23 contracts on the low tick. Even though this says 360, it's actually... Remember, this is aggregated by 2 ticks here. What's doing? Terrible. Definitely down though. Your question, does your A period start at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time? It's actually 9:30 Eastern time. No, Chris, yeah, 6:30 Pacific time. But yeah, it does. to 1600. I go from 9:30 to 1600 Eastern time, or 6:30 to 1 Pacific time. Bitcoin's coming back to the VWAP. You can see last week's VWAP was way down at 43,231. But I mean, I wouldn't be against I wouldn't be against Bitcoin coming back down in and filling us in a little bit here before trying to go for that, the actual goal. I was only looking for 48,000 and I closed I actually closed right here at 46.8 because I was being a little bitch. But for some reason CR charts starts mine at 230. Oh yeah, it's because of the update. Mine did the same thing. It was annoying as shit. You have to reset all your charts. Stupid. So we're back to that 15, 16-ish level here. This is where they sellers tried to come in last time and they were able to extend the range down, but not by much, right? They broke the low by what, like a couple points, and then it comes right back into this kind of, we've been kind of sitting down here. Look where all the volume's coming in at. Above 20, if we can get above 20, I'm not gonna long. I'm like looking to fade this thing, but I'm like trying to trade against my own plan, so I'm not gonna do it. I'll just wait. Who had a plan? Oh, go ahead, TJ. Wisdom, yeah. The soul with wings. Yo, brother, what's up? Which trading view indicator are you using to see the market profile? What you're going to want to do is click on indicators, which is one of these buttons up here. Or which one? Until it's big. So this one, and then just type in TPO. And one of our community members, Druther, however you say it, created it. Just click on that, and it'll pop it right up for you. It's the only well, it's free and it's the only it's high quality, right? There might be some other TPO indicators out there or market profile indicators out there, but they're all pretty much shit. And I know because I tried them all. But yeah, Soul with Wings, if you're not in our Discord, scroll down, jump in the Discord, introduce yourself, and welcome to the community. And we're all about sharing the information. So damn, I wanted to long that 15 so bad, guys, but I just too much. It's just not worth it. You know what I mean? Like, it looks like it wants to pop. It honestly looks like it wants to pop probably back up to like 24, 5. But it's against my trade plan. And speaking of trade plans, who had a trade plan today? Right? One thing that if you don't have and you're trading, lean forward until your face hits your desk and be like, why don't I have a trade plan? And then just keep doing that over and over until your hand pops up to block your head. And then pen falls in your hand, and then you write down a fucking trade plan. Because if you don't have one, you're just gambling, and that's just a fact. Sticking to the plan 100% lately, good. That's good stuff. That's really all you can do. Tried to join your Discord, but said the link expired. Oh, damn, Braveheart, not bad. Let me get you that link right here. I don't know why the link expires. Okay. There's the link right there. I just posted it in the chat. Yeah, I'll have to mess with it. I'm a pretty novice creator when it comes to stuff like that. Like when it comes to using YouTube and finding what I need to find on YouTube, expert. Like I'm talking, I have full confidence in like being able to like pretty much fix anything with videos on YouTube because they're just so good. But when it comes to like actually the creator part of it, and I did watch a fuckload of videos yesterday about making the YouTube better, but they all just seem like every video that you watch on YouTube on like how to make your YouTube more mainstream, just one seems like a fuck ton of work, and I'm not really focused on making YouTube, viral. I'm more focused on the knowledge. I'd actually almost prefer less people because then we can actually focus on what's going on. And then two, like it's like if you don't do clickbait stuff, then it's just not gonna happen. And I'm just not that motivated to do clickbait stuff. So what I am motivated to do is get this beard like Luis has got. I'm gonna need it when I move to the East Coast because it was 85 degrees at my house the other day, and then we're talking to my wife's parents in Pennsylvania, and then fucking 30 degrees and snowing, and I'm like, what the fuck? Caesar, what's up, man? Braveheart, welcome, welcome. 30 and snowing for you? Yeah. Hmm. I think what I'll do when I move too is I'm gonna break my if the driveway isn't rocks, a lot of the driveways over there are kind of like rocks or you just park on the street, but if my driveway is concrete, I think I'm gonna try to run some wiring through it to heat it up and melt that snow. Because I'm really not trying to shovel the driveway every day, if I'm being honest. I mean, I guess it would be a good workout. Just get up early, shovel the driveway, and then I won't have to do any workouts later in the day. So we're back testing that 15 here. Let's see the response that we get. Oh, and just spray it all out? That's not a bad idea. I'll probably buy one of those snow blowers. Yeah, yeah, for sure, Adam. Yeah, I'll buy one. But at first though, I'm gonna have to teach my kids about manual labor. Because I have two kids that'll be fully capable of helping me scrape the driveway. Yeah, I mean soon, TJ, once your boys get like, 12, 13, 14, you won't have to do shit. Like, all right, boys, let's go. This fucking sand isn't gonna level itself out. Daddy's putting in some new sod, so yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a great workout, honestly. I'm in that stage where I'm trying to teach my kids how to do something right the first time and they won't have to redo it. Because that's what they're like, I did it. And I'm like, yeah, but you did it wrong. And so it doesn't count. And with my kids are so different when it comes to how to how to I guess not, I don't know if I would call it punish them, but how to like form corrective action. You know what I mean? So like if they're not cleaning their room, my son, I'm like, I'm taking away these toys. And he's like, "Ah." Fucking world ends, right? My daughter's like, throw all those shit in the trash. I don't even like any of those fucking toys. You know what? And so I told my daughter, I'm like, well, you can't play basketball for a week. Boom. She snapped right into shape, started listening. And then she thought after she did what I said that it was just me all, unicorns and rainbows. And like, can I go play basketball in the backyard? And I said, you're banned for a week. You can get a tennis ball. So she's out there. She was out there in the backyard yesterday bouncing a tennis ball around. Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's once I saw her doing that, I went out there because she was kind of shooting it, and that's what kids are so focused on now is shooting. But and I keep telling my kids, I'm like, if you can't dribble the ball, no matter how good your shot is, you'll never play. Not professionally. It's just not gonna happen. Even Clay Thompson, who doesn't really, see, there's that fucking bounce. I knew it. These sneaky fucks. Watch for that 24 here. That looks like that's gonna be their target. Um, yeah, yeah, and then they just ran it right up. But yeah, like even Clay Thompson, he doesn't really dribble the ball very much. He's a catch and shoot type of player, but he can dribble really well. It's Final Four is this weekend, yeah, but not till. Yeah, there were some really good games. The Peacocks, the St. Petersburg Peacocks actually made the Elite Eight, which is the first time ever in the history that a 15 seed team made it that far in the tournament. And they knocked out a first ranked team in the very first game. But there's been some nail biters. Kansas Kansas is still in. No, they're not. Kansas is number one. Kansas is gonna win the tournament. Yeah. Yeah, UNC looks really good too. And UNC, like, so what happened? Because UNC just smacked the shit out of the St. Petersburg team. Um, but I mean, if you look at it, and this is an argument that my wife and I have been getting in about women's basketball and against men's basketball, it's just that the men's basketball teams are so big that St. Peter's is a great team, but they're such a small team, and UNC just put their big guys on the floor, and they weren't getting. I mean, those Peacocks weren't getting any fucking rebounds. They weren't getting any uncontested shots. They were just, you know, it was tough for them. They had a really tough game, and they tried their hearts out, but it just wasn't even close to enough. And it's tough, especially in college, because you get a couple of these teams that have future professional players on the team. So you've got and a couple of them too. Some teams will have like one or two, but I mean Kansas, you've got like five players on that team that are probably going to the pros first round. See, look, they did it again. They just dropped it back down to the 16, trapped some more, brought it back up. They're just playing these little games. But still, honestly, the safer play would be to be shorting on any rally. That's going to be the safer bet here. There's opportunity for some longs, but I'm all about consistency. GameStop still running. Hmm. I hope GameStop goes to 250, guys. If it does, I'll be happy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You missed it, TJ. You're hanging out in Discord and we talked about it. I don't know when it's gonna be. I don't know when it's gonna be. But um, they are talking about doing a 6-to-1 split. Can Bitcoin retrace back to 44K? Definitely. Yeah, it definitely could because that's where value's at, right? So I mean, it would make sense. It would be in its best interest to just come back down and fill this in around this 45. I think 45 would be a good level for it to stay above unless it wants a deeper retrace. But if it comes down to that 45 and a hold, I think that the next run up will probably be whoa. God, blinded myself. All my screens turned white right there. Holy shit. Um I think that if it gets deeper than that, you could start to see a lot more rotation because it'll bring in a little bit of fear here. And then it's also good news that Bitcoin hasn't pulled down. Like I said, with it becoming the store of value that everyone wants it to become, if the market starts to pull down and Bitcoin continues to hang out, then that's great for Bitcoin and gives me a little bit more confidence in the long. But if it doesn't, and if it does break that 45, really that 40, yeah, I mean, anywhere from like 45. I really don't want to see it break 45, to be honest. But if it does break 45 and holds at 44, it might not be too bad. Um, but if the ES starts to pull down and then there's that, here it goes. They're going to go for that 24 as the target here. Um, but if it does hold and the market starts to go down and Bitcoin still starts to hold, then it gives us that store of value, right? So that's good confidence for the upside. But if the market starts to come down and Bitcoin starts to come down, then that kind of takes me off of getting long down here unless I really see some opportunity. The bootcamp information, the bootcamp is not done yet, but I'll be getting the bootcamp out as soon as I can. I am working on it every single day. It's just a matter of getting it the way that I want it to be. Um, I've even contemplated just kind of uh just saying fuck it and just recording it live after these live streams or like after the market one day, like in the middle of the day, and then anyone that tunes in can just tune in. I feel like I'm a better teacher on live than rehearsed. Yeah, so the basics of the TPO, right? Each letter is a representation of one tick. And actually on this chart we have it on two ticks because of the volatility. But this is the S&P, and the S&P trades in ticks of 0.25, right? So every tick goes like this, and then goes to the zero, right? So four ticks equal a dollar, four quarters equal a dollar. So that's kind of how you can think of it. And then every tick is either $12.50, or if you're trading the micros, $1.25. Um, and so that's what these letters are representing. Each row of letters is 30 minutes. So every period in E or F or G is concurrent 30 minutes. So here, first 30 minutes, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, so on. And basically, the thing that we're trying to pay attention to here is value, right? And so where is value going? And if we make this a little bit bigger, we can kind of see, and value is going to be in green, right? And then the rest of the trading, and value is going to be 68.7%. Hey, what's up, Ed? 68.7%, right? And we have a balance here. We're seeing value shift up, and now we have value up here, but we're kind of drifting back into Friday's value. So they could just see some balance start to form above. We are holding above this 3-week balance, which is good news, but if we start to spend too much time back down there, we do have some levels below where, you know, opportunity for some downside, right? We still haven't broken out of the prior day low. There's still this VPOC down here in the 200 SMA, and then the spike low of our previous balance zone. The uh, the basics take me about like you know, an hour and then some to really get into, but once once I finish it, I'm just gonna post it in the Discord. So you're in the Discord now, so you'll be good to go. Besides BPSV, you're using TradingView volume. Oh, thanks, Daniel. So, um, this is called the TPO. So if you just type in TPO in the indicators on the top, is it this one? Oh, yeah. Yeah, type in TPO, and it's this one by Druther. And then you just have to adjust it based off of what you're trading, right? I mostly use it for, well, lately I've been using it mostly for Bitcoin. So there's that G period taking the high by one tick. close it. But other than that, I do like this cumulative volume delta, but I don't use it the way probably most people use it. I use it as a for divergence, and I really um, don't really look at it unless I'm doing like some analysis on like a bigger picture time frame. And you can see we're just getting resistance on Bitcoin at the top of that balance area. I think the target is this. If they're able to break above. But I appreciate everyone tuning in on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook. You guys go ahead and press that like and subscribe button. We'll definitely be getting more information out every single day. Um, I also plan on going through some of the videos that we've recorded and just kind of clipping them. One of our members, Zoe's actually done a great job in clipping certain things from the market or from the previous sessions. Um, and so I kind of want to just work with that and give people like an intro to it, because I feel I feel a lot of people on YouTube are kind of drifting towards the market profile now. It's kind of becoming popular. I'm seeing it. I'm just seeing it a lot more. It might just be because my channel says market profile or TPO, and so then it recommends me those other channels. But I am seeing it a lot more regularly. So what I imagine is people are probably picking up on the basics, and that's probably the most dangerous thing that you can do, is just picking up just the basics and thinking that the TPO can be used as a rule or a concrete guide to trading, and it's just simply not the case, right? It's an art, not a science, right? There is some science involved, but in everything that is great typically comes from the unexpected. What was I looking about yesterday? I wanted to share this with you guys. There's a book that I've read before called Psychocybernetics. I don't know if you guys have checked it out before, but you should, because it really helps like just understand humans, right? And that's who we're competing against here. Is we're competing against other humans, right? Yeah, there's a lot of algos, but algos are easy to see for the most part because they can't think. Algos can only do if this then that, right? Algos aren't taking into account um, other things, and there's no specific algo that just straight makes money, right? There's just certain algos that say if this happens, then I have to sell the ES to hedge against my portfolio, shit like that. We're not worried about that. We're worried about the other traders, like you and I, retail traders, or what I call dumb money traders or weak money traders, what they're doing, so we can trade against them, right? And then we see what smart money's doing and identify where the weak traders are at and trade against them. You know, seems pretty simple. It works really well, but what's the one? Trying to can't find what I was looking at yesterday. Oh, okay. So this is what it was. I can't find the article, but I remember basically what the book talks about, right? And the book talks about how certain things were created. And one of the big things is that everyone could probably understand is airplanes, right? See, there they go for that 24. Those watch for that 25. That's where that low volume's at, 25.50. Um, the Wright brothers that invented, flying were not uh what do you call them? Aeronautical engineers. I'm not sure what the specific term would be for that job, but that's not what they did, but yet they made flight happen, right? They were bicycle mechanics actually, or bicycle engineers, if that's a thing back then, maybe. um Same thing with Albert Einstein, right? I know he gets a lot of credit for what was it? For being I think a physicist, but he was, what was his profession? What was his actual degree in? I think he was a mathematician, but he's a theoretical physicist, but he was actually a mathematician, and that's how he developed the theory of quantum mechanics, was through math accidentally, right? The same thing with Madame Curie as well. Um, she was not. I mean, she's credited with the research into, what was it? Like radioactive material, like radium and polonium. You guys know I'm not really great with these big words, but she was a psychiatrist. You know what I mean? She wasn't a scientist. She was a psychiatrist. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, the it's hard for me to share links on YouTube. The So here's the book Psycho-Cybernetics. I can just share this link here. And there's a list of books. Oh, the link is too long. Post the Amazon link. But I mean, there's a lot of books that I recommend reading, and the reason is, one, they're going to help you in your own life understand yourself a little bit better, but two, it's going to help you understand the psychology of human behavior, and regardless of your opinion on it, these are people that have done a lot of research on it. So unless you've done a lot of your own research on it, you pretty much don't really have a choice but to take this information that's been, researched and published. But it all makes sense, and then when you start reading these books, you really start to understand it, start to understand yourself a little bit better, and then that's going to help you improve in your trading, because you're going to be able to identify your key mistakes, and you will have them. That's just a fact of life. And then also you're going to be able to understand what happens when, people get a little bit uh get a little bit ahead of themselves in the market. And that's kind of, where we're good at identifying in here, is where people are piling on a little bit too late, like TJ earlier when he was talking about getting long on that E low, because they just got a little bit overextended, right? The volume kind of died down, and then, it bounced right back up. And that's the key here. Braveheart, these are. I think there is links in the Discord. If you go to Amazon links, I think James made a bunch of books in there. Yeah, there is a bunch of books in there. Not all the books. Oh, and then he posted links to all the shit that I have, like all the screens and crap. But yeah, all the books in there. And actually the most recent book that's been posted, I'll open it here, is something that everybody needs to get on, right? It's free on YouTube, The Richest Man in Babylon. It's not religious, so if that's going to deter you from reading it, don't. But it's 100% worth it. It's just a lesson in wealth, and I think that people are misunderstood because of the way that wealth is advertised in the world. They don't understand what true wealth actually is and how to build it. And the book, although it doesn't take presence in this time of day, it is a very important read, and very, applicable lessons in the book for today. And I actually saw that Florida passed a law saying that they're going to be teaching, or like making it mandatory in order to graduate high school, to have an understanding of how credit scores work. It's kind of cool. because I always thought that. At my high school, I got lucky. I had the opportunity to take either pre-cal or a class called Applied Career Math. And I chose Applied Career Math because I knew the teacher and he was super cool. But um, we actually played poker in the class. Like, I mean, that's how involved the overall lesson of being an adult was. Is he used poker as an example, and that's the kind of stuff that sticks with kids, right? Not like, oh well, the president said this when you're because most, I mean, the economics class that I took in high school was basically a waste of time. Just the um we just watched fucking Good Morning America every day. Yeah. And I used to show up late every single day because I walked to school, and the first period was an hour and a half long. So, and for the first 45 minutes, all we did was watch that show. And so I just told the teacher, I was like, listen, I got to walk to school, and I'm not getting up early to walk to school to watch this show. And he was like, whatever, I don't care, just come. So I would show up like once that was over. He was pretty cool about it. So, like we got some England weather in California today. At least where I'm at, it's all cloudy and rainy. Tesla's bouncing back up there. Microsoft's trying to make a little bit of a climb now too. Starting to see a little bit more green throughout the market here. Yes, these are Thinking Fast and Slow and Psycho-Cybernetics are must reads. Just for life, even if you're not going to trade, those are just two books that you should have read. Right. And it Yeah, that's a good one. You've been powering through all these books. That's good. You're right. And not just in trading, just in every aspect of life too. How do I manage to move the volume profile from the right? Oh yeah, so you just click here and click on this HD thing, and then just when you click on style, it says placement, and just put it on the right. And then I've got rid of, when you first put it on, it'll show like I think blue and yellow. I'm not sure what the colors are when you first put it on, but um it'll it'll be multicolored, and I just have it so it's like gray and light gray. Oh yeah, yeah, up, yeah, and so yeah, there it is, yeah. And then save it, because sometimes with this VPSV, when you switch to like a daily chart and then switch back to a 30-minute chart, it won't load. So save the template so that way you can just click the X and then go back to your indicators and put it back on. Because if not, then you're gonna have to redo the yellow and all that shit, and it just becomes a gigantic pain in the ass. So like they did come up to that 2550. I knew these sneaky fucks were trying that shit. I just tell. Yeah. It was just key. And that's the thing, guys. So we've got to make sure that we're paying attention to that, even if there is mechanical references. When we're getting this one tick, I think it was right here on this 15, it was like one tick, one tick, one tick, one tick, one tick, one tick, one tick. And then it popped up and it was doing the same thing, and then doing the same thing, and then doing the same thing. It's like, that's just a trap getting set up, right? And we've seen this game. I mean, we've seen this game so many times. Oh, how did I do that? Oh, just learned a shortcut on accident. Let me see. You hold control and click in the margin, double click in the margin, it'll bring it back to normal. You found that out. But notice how the tempo is so slow on the upside, and that just kind of makes me think that it's just all short covering. So now let's watch for a reaction at the 29.50, and see if they do kind of backfill all this volume. And that then what that will do will just give us value overlapping to higher, right? If we're paying attention, here's value. We didn't get back to the low of that value. And a lot of times what can disrupt our value area high to value area low, or value area low to value area high trade is the point of control, right? This point of control is here, but the VPOC is probably down here. It comes right into that and bounces off. I would give this a strong reaction off of the point of control, and we're starting to see the overall market here get a little bit of turning up, right? We saw this consolidation and kind of down moves. Netflix, we had Amazon, Apple, Microsoft turn down a little bit, but now they're starting to make their way back up. Tesla's still looking pretty strong. I don't know why it says Tesla's up 1.95% when they're not. They're up like 7%. I'm not sure how this thing is calculated. Really, don't worry about the percentage. We're just looking at what's going on right now. And you could, yep, exactly. Yeah, yeah. If we pop this thing open too, it was only very similar. We had that kind of push down, and then we just short covered up, and then there was a liquidation, and then that M period. This honestly was just like a Friday wash, right? This was the old pop or drop lock, and then pop. Yeah, they're like, oh, I'm not going into the weekend with any of this shit. Bye bye. What's up, Kevin? Tesla motorcycle? Say what? I didn't see that. You are gold. Thanks, bro. Let me look it up. Tesla motorcycle. Ooh, like a dude. That looks like the. Oh, it's kind of ugly. Is it gonna look like that? Is this see through or no? No. What the fuck is going on here? Which one is the one? I wonder. This looks badass. I'm not a huge fan of crotch rockets, though, to be honest with you. I need storage on my bike. I mean, it does look pretty cool though. It looks like what was that movie? Um those fucking weird motorcycles in it. Yeah, that's not very practical when riding a motorcycle. You don't want to be looking down ever, really. You want to be looking straight. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. Because you could look down on your motorcycle for 2 seconds, someone cuts you off, and then you're just getting fucking you're dead. Especially this thing's probably fast as hell. Oh, I'm gonna definitely check it out. I mean, it looks. I wonder what the cost on it's gonna be. That's not the one that you saw? BMW one. Yeah, shoot me the link of the video if you find it. I'll pop it up. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to try to get something in. Tron, that was it. Crypto digs, that was it. It was Tron that I was thinking of. Here's the video. I can't play any sound because it got a strike last time. And then if I get like one more, I think the channel gets blocked for a little while. For playing copyrighted sounds, even though there's no monetization, but I guess like some people, it depends on if the people like have like a thing where like they don't want any of their shit shown. Elon probably doesn't give a fuck, but yeah, it's good. It's a pretty smart algorithm. Oh, that's the bike. Okay. Oh, it looks like a dirt bike. Looks like an enduro. Waterproof. Oh yeah, yeah, they do have some cool ones. Yeah, this is more my style right here. You in the road. Yeah, I did see that. Elon's trying to just take over everything. This is never coming out. Listen, that's not even a real. It's not. It's not. Uh, Where? I haven't seen any on the street. If there was one built, how come Elon doesn't drive it everywhere he goes? Because I weak sauce. I want it now. I'm gonna need it if there's a zombie apocalypse. 'Cause it looks. I mean, it just looks like zombie apocalypse. I like how it looks. Uh, this is what I was thinking of right here. Yeah. Like this motorcycle. Kind of what it looks like. Yeah, it does. Like the Dark Knight one. Yeah. I did see that. My my buddy's actually looking at buying one of those because down here in the Bay Area it's so expensive, but he's got this really good job at this refinery out here. So he's thinking about just buying some land and just getting one of those houses built on the property and just just rocking that house. That's a great idea. I mean, houses are just they're too expensive. And I mean, houses are literally just if anyone doesn't know that houses are created to collateralize debt that banks use to lend money out, then you got to do some more reading. But I mean that right, right. I'm not sure who's making those. What are they called? What they're called? But what's the what did he call them? Here it is. It's if you just here's the Tesla tiny house on the Tesla website. It looks like this. Yeah, and you can supposedly tow it with your Tesla, yeah. Um but you can fit in there. You're just not gonna be able to move around at all. the light cycle. Well, I mean, like he's on the move all the time, so he's seeing like, you know, he doesn't need, that's just a waste of his money, and so he's allocating resources in the correct way. It's just the same idea, like I always talk about. People are like, oh, you should get uh an expensive car, and I'm like, what's the point? So it can just sit in my driveway and do nothing. 1 second, guys, someone's calling me. Hello. Hey. Yep. Okay, that's fine. Bye. Curtis is just calling me asking if he could have a cookie. But yeah, but it's like, I don't drive my car very much, so if I buy a Lambo, it's just gonna sit in a bubble in my garage. And it's not a store. I mean, I would buy a car if it was a collector's car that I know would sustain its value over time, or it was a practical buy. But I'd rather, spend my money to spend that, $200,000 plus on a car on another property, and then rent that bitch out and, collect money, but passive income. I might buy a Tesla, Uncle Stacy. I might. They're all-wheel drive, and I do need an all-wheel drive car. But where I'm going, there's like no chargers anywhere, so my car would basically just be like a city car. So I just like this summer. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I actually don't go to the gas station that often, but I went yesterday to fill up my gas tank, and it cost $70 just to fill up my Altima. I'm like, God damn. Once e once Elon figures out how to capture the energy and like just like hold the energy for a long time, because a lot of times what they do is they take that solar energy, but there's no way to like bank it basically, so they put it back into the grid so other people can use it. But if there was a way, yeah, but they're not. Yeah, that one, they're not to the level that he wants them to come out, or that he wants them to be at. But I mean, the way that he's going, when they do come out, like you'll be able to, I mean, you'll be able to just straight run your house off of that, because you'll be able to save up so much energy on the days that there's sun. On the days that there's no sun, you'll be good to go. And that's huge for them because they, get smacked with a storm what seems like every single year and then lose power. So that, I mean, that could be, that's, I mean, that could be, that is huge for them. A lot of people hate Elon, but just just has such good ideas. And did you guys see the poll this weekend? He posted a poll on Twitter like, should Twitter be replaced because the way that it censors things, it doesn't give freedom of speech or something like that. And I don't know, it made me kind of think like maybe he wants to buy it, or I don't know, people now are talking about that he wants to create his own platform. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Facts. That's a good point for sure. Yeah, he'll get his ass whooped probably. In what? Oh, he's a. Oh no, no, Putin is. Yeah. No, I thought you said Elon was a black belt. Yeah, Putin's a killer. Putin's killed people, I'm sure. I was watching an interview a long while ago, probably like I think it was like 2000, maybe like 2015, 2016, and Putin was like they were asking Putin. There's a normal news guy, I guess, that would kind of be like the devil's advocate news people that ask the president the news that he doesn't want to answer, and they were like, well, where's this news guy? He's been here for years. What happened to him? And he said, he is no longer with us. Like, like you mean like on Earth, or like he's not a news person anymore? Like, where'd he go? And it was just kind of, and that's it. And then he just like moved on. Like, oh, he fell in a hole and never climbed out. Like, Jesus. But you never know. Elon would get in a fight with somebody and it'd be like Sherlock Holmes. You know what I mean? Have you seen the movie Sherlock Holmes? He's like smack to the ear. Like he'd just math the shit out of him. He'd beat his ass with math. It'd be dope. He is, I mean, much much younger too. I mean, everyone's thinking it. You can't say that they're not. I mean, I know they're trying to walk back the statements, but that's what everybody's thinking. It's just a fact. Yeah, they went to Ukraine. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I heard they defected and tried to get out of there. I mean, in reality, regardless of who stays in power, the issue needs to get resolved because the people that are going to suffer, I mean, besides the people that are already suffering in Ukraine, a lot of these, I mean, it's just terrible. But that kind of thing's happening all over the world. It's just no one cares about them, because they're not white, in my opinion. But anyways, the Europe in general is going to struggle with power, right? Inflation is going to go up. Shit's going to start costing more. They're going to have an energy crisis on their hands, and that's kind of what leads to recession, right? High oil prices, high gas prices, high energy prices are pretty much a predictor of recessions. Yeah. But Canada's already kind of coming in clutch with that, trying to fill that void. I don't know how America's gonna do because everybody knows America's number one favorite thing is gluten. So I don't know how we'll make it without having a fucking cereal for breakfast every day. Yeah, there's a big fertilizer issue. I mean, corn too is I don't think a lot of people are talking about it yet, but I think corn is I mean, there's corn oil or corn pretty much in like almost everything. Um, it's just the easiest thing to kind of layer stuff with to make stuff taste good, and it's in like, every almost every product that's not good for you. What's it made from? Yeah, made from corn though. And what's interesting is this year in the United States, there was a ton of crops that didn't uh that grew like in Arizona because the temperature was so hot that a bunch of corn grow without any kernels because it was just, not the right temperature. And then that gets into like the whole global warming thing and why I bought that property in Minnesota because that's going to be the ideal place to stay in life, in my opinion. I got 33 acres, so if you guys are feeling like you want to be useful and help on a farm, because that was just the plot that I picked. But I mean, it's next to running water. It's really close to like one of the biggest lakes. Not 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 the Great Lakes, but to a really big lake. Um, that is the number one ice fishing destination in the world. More than what? Maybe, yeah. I don't know. So hopefully Minnesota will have more seasons instead of like 9 months of snow. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's just preparation. You never know what's gonna happen. Well, and that's what normally causes what would you call them? I guess regimes, yeah, regimes to get changed out is famine because people can live through, a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, right? So they're fine with that. They don't mind running up the credit, but as soon as they aren't getting the things that they need, people start to go crazy. We saw it during COVID, and it was only for, a month or so. People couldn't get toilet paper anywhere, and the fucking world started to end. People started looting buildings and shit. I mean, it just got kind of crazy, and that was only a month. So just imagine if the people in Europe stop getting the food or the energy that they need to make this food. And you got to think about how far these things affect everything, right? Like you're talking gas prices going up, oil prices going up. Yeah, they affect us because we got to drive to work, right? But at the end of the day, when we're done with work, we go to the grocery store and we buy food. Well, this farmer that's doing all this work is using gas to run his tractors to harvest all of these plants to send them to the market that we go to buy. So those prices are going to go up. So we're going to keep chasing them. And eventually, if it becomes too much, well, this farmer is going to have to give up, right? Or ask for federal subsidies and raise prices. And when you ask for federal aid, a lot of times like, yeah, yeah, sure, here's some money, but I want some back in cash, right? And so that's what happens, and that's where if some of these farmers aren't able to keep producing at the amount that they've been producing, and then oil prices still keep going up, then it just makes sense that that kind of stuff happens, right? The famine, and normally it's led by some of the best times in the world, or best times, right? Get like a you get like a the roaring 20s, and then after that it's just straight shit for a while. Market's really just kind of hanging out here, guys. Not really seeing a lot going on. We are seeing a little bit more juice here in some of our bigger names here. Apple's starting to come up, and Apple's kind of the key here that we've been watching for forever because it's just Apple really is a store of value, right? People don't know what to do with their money. They're like, fuck it, I'll just buy Apple. It's not going anywhere. Tesla more gamble-ish type, right? You never know what can happen with Tesla, but Apple, I mean, especially with their genius idea of renting phones now. They're talking about it. Okay, so we're coming back into that 29, right? So this is the spot that we saw capitulation earlier from sellers or from buyers where they decided, okay, I've had enough. I'm not going to buy it anymore. So let's see if they turn over here and start to come back on, or if they start to show back up. And then their target would be the 40. That's really where Art Money got short at. So you could see them cover up all the way to 40, to be honest with you, and then wait for the reaction there, because that's probably where there'd be a bigger reaction at. But if it starts to get weak here, there's a decent opportunity to try to fade some of this. Only 4 contracts straight on that low tick there. But this is kind of a chop area, right? Like I said, I don't really above this 19, or above 29 to 40, I mean, it's kind of an area where I don't really want to be getting into a trade. There was an opportunity for that long there. There may be opportunity up here, but this is kind of that spot where it kind of worked out drawing it like this, because that could give you that Charlie Brown moment where you're looking to kick this football. And I know I'm really good at drawing. You get up to this 29 or this 40, I mean, and then just football misses and then you fall on your back. That's all this area kind of in here. More of just chop. And remember, we're still inside yesterday's range, and we've spent a lot of time inside yesterday's range so far. Did get a decent reaction off that point of control, though. The selling doesn't look as strong here. So not a huge reaction at that 29 from sellers, right? So they're still just short covering up here. We can see the tempo starting to pick up a little bit on this upside too. And this is what happens. A lot of these late momentum buyers finally decide to pull that trigger on the long that they've been talking about since, the low, and they end up getting stuck. Trading view indicators links to send you. I share this chart. Oh, this one's not on the. This is like the trading view. I mean, the only indicators that I'm using are the weekly VWAP, market profile, and um, BPSVHD. I don't know how to send like the indicators that are on the chart though. I'm not sure. Tesla's almost up 8%. Apple's looking to go back to green. Even Google's starting to pick up a little bit here. Starting to see all these start to drift up, right? Netflix is getting some gas, Facebook, Johnson & Johnson, Google starting to pop up here. The key here is to watch. I mean, I know this is a little bit chaotic, but watch like the previous highs. I mean, you'd have to set up the colors a little bit different, but I mean, watch these previous highs. When we come back down, consolidate, we find buyers, the target would be the high, right? If it's unable to break the high, chances are it comes back to the low, right? Or at least comes back down into the area where it consolidated, which is all this crap. Starting to see some gas here. We've seen this play before. But I think that's it, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thanks for hanging out. As far as going forward, what I'm looking for, like I've talked about, I'd like to see if some of this volume can accumulate and hold above that 40, which could challenge these highs. We do have a poor high on the top, and I think that 45.50 looks like a decent target. As far as, you know, it's a virgin point of control. So it makes sense if they just go up there and try to, you know, see what's up, see if those people are still up there. To the low side, right, we peaked back into that balance, and now we're back above. So if we continue to stay building up, it's going to kind of confirm our breakout, and we could see, you know, we could see some rotations, but that would still keep us up on the upside. We definitely want to be watching the lows on liquidation breaks, though, because this grind to the upside was very slow. So now we're coming back into the volume, and this is kind of, like I said, our no-go zone in between 29 and 40. And then as far as what's up? All right, sounds good. See you later. 50-point trade on the MNQ. Good stuff. See you later. All right, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Make sure that you are managing risk and sticking to your trade plan.